guys, it's July the 31st, 2024, and it is a hot day here in South Carolina. We just finished having a huge storm here, and the rain was just pouring down, thunderstorms, all that jazz, and then now the sun's out, and it is like smoking hot out here right now. The humidity is through the roof. But I had to wait for a little bit because I did not want to film today's video inside the house again. So I just waited for the storm to go away. I think it's somewhere around like 3:30 or something right now. But today's video, I want to talk about something that I have been avoiding for quite some time. I've been asked this question multiple times, but either last night or this morning, I don't remember when it was. But I was replying to the comments from yesterday's video, and one of the subscribers mentioned if I would make a video about how much money that I spent on my addiction. And I thought about it this morning, and thought about it, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna do it today. And one of the reasons I really just didn't want to do this video was because I didn't want to have to sit down and think about how much money that I actually wasted on my drinking and everything else that I did. And man, I was right, because I'm pretty blown away by the amount of money that I actually wasted on alcohol and cigarettes and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's mind-blowing. But I just want to go ahead and start off today's video by just going ahead and talking about the things that I did. And you know, I mean, obviously I drank, and I've spoken about that numerous times on here. But I drank vodka every day, and for the most part, when I drank Tito's vodka. That was my drink of choice. You know, I would drink bottom of the shelf stuff when I didn't have the money, but for the most part, I was a Tito's drinker. And you know, it all depended on the day. So it's really hard for me to, like, you know, come up with a real solid number, because I usually would drink somewhere around a half a gallon, but sometimes more. Sometimes I would drink a whole half. I meant to say I would drink a half of a gallon per day, but sometimes more. Sometimes I would drink a whole half a gallon in one day. It just depended on the day. Depended on when I started drinking, just a lot of factors. But the way I see it is that I was probably consuming somewhere around 4 or 5 half gallons of vodka a week. And I smoked cigarettes too. And, you know, the cigarettes and the alcohol went hand in hand with each other. And I wasn't just the type of person that just smoked when I drank. I smoked, you know, during the day as well. Although when I would wake up in the morning, I often wouldn't smoke first thing in the morning, because I would always feel so horrible in the morning. And then when I would try to smoke on top of it, just make my hangover so much worse. So I often waited until later on in the day before I would start smoking cigarettes. Although I would smoke in the morning sometimes, but it was kind of rare. I usually waited until, I don't know, around noon or something before I would smoke, just because I just felt really crappy in the morning. And if I smoked on top of my hangover, it'd give me a really bad headache. And I always had a headache when I would wake up in the morning. I just stayed away from it. But I still smoked at least a pack or a pack and a half of cigarettes, sometimes 2 packs of cigarettes per day. I also drank beer on top of the liquor. I was not just a liquor drinker. I've spoken about this, but I didn't really even drink that much water. I would drink water like at nighttime when I would wake up in the middle of the night, you know, when I was thirsty. But for the most part, if I was thirsty, I drank beer. Looking back on it now, I'm just like, gee whiz, you know, like, what was I thinking with the amount of consumption that I was doing? It really is mind-blowing to me after I sat down and did the math on this. On top of that as well, I had mixers that I mixed with my alcohol that I had to purchase. I drank, I really mixed basically 2 or 3 things with my vodka. One was Sprite, the other one was cranberry juice, Sometimes I do orange juice, but mainly Sprite, cranberry juice, and sometimes soda water. And if I did soda water, I would do like soda water, a twist of lime, and then like a little splash of cranberry juice in there. And I did not pour a lot of mixers into my drinks. Majority of my drinks that I mixed was alcohol. I've done a video before in the past where I showed how much I actually drank, and I would fill up one of those big like 32-ounce tumblers, one of those stainless steel tumblers. I would fill that up like 3/4 of the way with ice, fill it up 3/4 of the way with vodka, and then I would, fill it up the rest of the way with a mixer. I drank a lot. And not only did I, drink beer, liquor, and, majority of the time I drank at home, but probably once or twice a week I went to the bar after work. I was a chef. I got off work late at night. Often we would have, a really big event or something. At least once a week, we had some kind of big event that we did. And most of the time more. But on those really big nights when, if we had a wedding on a Saturday or a big function on a Friday, some big party, because we often would do these like special events and stuff like that. If in fact I had one of those nights, and it was a really, really busy night, my guys were really stressed out, I pushed them really hard that day, I would often tell my guys, hey, I'm going to take everybody out to the bar tonight. And I would take them out for drinks, as a means to pat them on the back and say thank you for all their hard work. And I would pay the tab. And that was at least once or twice a week. I would take my guys out to the bar for drinks after work. We'd get off work at 9, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night, whatever. And I would take them downtown, and I'd get them drinks. And like I said, I would pay the tab. I wanted to pat my guys on the back. I wanted to tell them they did a good job, and that was my way of doing it. So after sitting down and doing the math today, I really don't want to say these numbers, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. And the reason I'm doing this is because I'm sure there's a lot of other people out there who probably spent more money than me or around the same, and I want to do this so that people don't feel so alone. It's one of those things where, I often talk about on the channel about how much I drank, and I thought for so long that I was the only one who drank in the manner that I did. I thought I was the only person who woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning and started mixing liquor drinks. I thought I was the only person who would wake up in the middle of the night and mix a drink to make the hangover go away. I thought I was the only person who snuck liquor around the way that I did. And after, doing this channel for I don't know how many months it's been now, I found that I was not alone, and by far, there are so many other people that drank in the fashion that I did as well. And I'm not going to say that it made me feel better about myself, but I think that, talking about this topic at least makes people not so isolated in the amount that they drank. It takes away from from that feeling of I'm the only one, and my drinking is so bad that no one else drinks in the way that I do. But that's just not the case. There are so many of us that are so similar every single day when I'm replying to the comments and people are telling me their stories. The similarities of everyone's drinking habits, it's amazing how similar that we all are or were when we were drinkers. It's crazy. But anyway, let's go ahead and talk about how much money that I spent when I drank. So I smoked, like I said, at least a pack and a half, 2 packs of cigarettes a day. It just depended on what I was doing. If I was hanging out with my guys and we were at the bar, I might smoke 2 packs of cigarettes that day. Cigarettes, they're like $8, $9 a pack, I think. And I think they were about that price back then too. So $8 a pack. I smoked at least a pack of cigarettes every single day, $56 a week in cigarettes. Liquor, like I said, I drank Tito's for the most part. Tito's vodka half gallons run about $47 for a half gallon. And I'm pretty sure it was about that price back then too. It might have been a couple dollars cheaper, but $47. I had to look it up online to see how much they were right now, and it said $47. And from my memory, I remember it being somewhere around like $45 or something like that for a half gallon. And I drank, sometimes a whole half gallon, or I drink, 3/4 of a half gallon, or I drink half of a half gallon. It just depended on the day. On a day off, I might clear a half gallon, no problem. And if I didn't, there'd be like that much left in the bottle sometimes. But from what I figured out here, well, I'll get to that in just a second. My beer, I drank beer as well, and I was speaking about this at the beginning of this video, that I would drink beer every single day. That was like my water, or my soda, or whatever you want to say. When I wasn't drinking liquor, I was drinking beer. That was like my hydration, I guess you would say. And I did not drink cheap beer. I did not drink Bud Light or Coors Light or Miller High Life or any of that kind of stuff. That was not the beer that I drank. I drank really expensive IPAs. I think the beer that I used to drink a lot was called like 60 Second or something like that, or 60 Minute. It was like Dogfish IPA or something, Doghead IPA. It's been so long, I can't remember the exact name of it, but I drank a lot of those different kinds of beers. I would drink the Hopsecutioner, I drank really hoppy beers. Gosh, I can't even remember the name of them anymore. There was like a something Goose IPA I used to drink all the time. But majority of the time, I would go for those really high test ones, the ones that were like, 11, 12% alcohol. And those ran like $12, $13, $14 a six pack. And I drank at least probably one of those a day, a six pack of those a day. And those were the ones, if I had to run to the store real fast, there was a cooler in the back of my car at all times. And I worked in a restaurant. There was an ice machine. Every morning when I went to work, I would go and I would get like a container, fill it up with ice, and then I'd go out to my cooler, pull it in there. And then, I would stop on the way to work. I would stop and grab like a six pack of beer, 2 packs of cigarettes or whatever. I'd put my beer on ice, and if I had to run to the store to go get squash or whatever it was, I'd have like 2 or 3 beers on my little vegetable run that I had to do. And those beers were always in my vehicle. And like I said, I drank at least a 6-pack of those every single day. I forgot to mention and forgot to write this down, but I also bought shooters, and I would drink those every single day too. So I used to drink the Fireball shooters, and I think those ran like $2 or something like that, or $2 or $3 for a shooter, and that was like the double shot. I didn't buy the little ones. I always bought the like 1.75s or whatever they were. I'm pretty sure those were like I'll say $2 a piece, and I would buy those like 4 at a time. So we're talking, let's just say I drink 3 of those a day. So that's $6 a day in shooters that I would have. So, wow. And then on top of it, I had to have my Sprite or my cranberry juice or my soda water or something like that. I figured somewhere around $4, $4 a day. And then I would go to the bar at least once or twice a week. I just said $100, and that's being very like frugal with that. Like I probably spent more, but I'm just gonna say $100 a week just going to the bar, taking my guys out. Now, I wasn't the type of person that went to the bar alone. I just didn't really ever do that, but I would take my guys out and have a couple drinks with them, once or twice a week. So just in vodka every week, I spent like $240 a week in vodka. Beer, I spent like $90 a week in beer. Cigarettes, $60 a week for cigarettes. Mixers, $20-$30 a week is what I was spending on just mixers. and then going to the bar, $100 a week. So I did the math, and I came up with $520 a week is what I was spending on booze and cigarettes. If I took those shooters and threw that in there, we're talking another $30. So we're looking at $550 a week or something like that. That's just ridiculous. Looking back on this now, I'm just like, gosh, like the things that I could have bought. I could have bought a vehicle. I could have bought a home. When I tell you the final number, and this number right here that I'm gonna give you the final number, it's really mind blowing. I could have bought a home with this. And I just did this as like a 10-year number. I drank my whole entire life. This is not the real number, and I'm just giving you the number because I drank super heavy for at least a decade or more. It's probably like 12 years I drank super heavy because I really started when I was about 30 years old is when my alcoholism just went straight off the roof. I mean, it just got completely out of control around 30 years old, and I remember when it happened. And like I said, I'm figuring 10 years. It was more like 12 of like super, super heavy drinking. But I drank, from the time I was, 14, 15 years old. And I drank before that, but really was drinking, on a pretty regular basis from like 14, 15 years old all the way through the rest of my life. Now my drinking, I drank here and there. I would drink every weekend or whatever. Whenever I could get my hands on it when I was younger, I would drink. But when I turned 21, that's when things really just started going downhill. I would drink, I could buy it whenever I wanted to. And, it didn't get real bad at that point, but I still was a problem drinker when I was 21. And there and beyond, I had a problem with alcohol. I was, if you look at like what they say, like, however many drinks it is per week, I think it's like, if you're a male and you drink more than 2 drinks a day or something like that, that's considered AUD. I drank more than that every day. I probably had at least 4, 5, 6 beers every day, in my younger years. And then that progressed into a 12-pack and then 18-pack and then a case of beer a day. And then I said, that heck with this, I'm not drinking any more beer. I'm getting too full from the beer. I'm just going to move into liquor. And that's when I started drinking the liquor, which are the numbers that I'm giving you right now. So, once again, vodka $240 a week, beer $90 a week, cigarettes $60 a week, probably more, probably $80, $100 a week on cigarettes, mixers $30 a week, going to the bar at least $100 a week. And like I said, let's say $550 a week is what I was spending. $550 a week on alcohol. That's $2,080 a month. Well, at $520 it was my original number. So we're probably looking at a little bit more than that, like $2,200 a month or something like that. $2,200 a month. That's a house payment right there. And that equaled out to like $27,000 a year in alcohol. And then for 1 decade, that's $270,000 for a decade is what I was drinking. That is a super nice home that I could have paid off in a matter of 10 years with my alcohol consumption. Think about that. It's one of the reasons I didn't want to do this video, because I didn't want to look at the number and I didn't want to think about all the money that I just poured down the drain, or peed down the drain, I guess you would say, because that's all I did with it. I drank it and peed it down the drain. And not only did I waste all that money, but I caused myself some serious health problems because of my consumption. So I paid for myself to have cirrhosis of the liver, chronic pancreatitis. I probably got diabetes from my drinking. I mean, all the blood clots that I have, the $1 million in hospital bills that I have, because that's what I did. I invested all my money into owing more money and having all kinds of health consequences because I didn't know when to stop and I couldn't quit. I let myself just get out of control with it. That's a lot of money. That's a super lot of money. I worked my tail off my whole life, and I'm not joking. I worked When I say I work 12 to 18-hour days every single day, I'm not kidding. I did that every single day, my whole life in the restaurant industry, only to blow it. Now, I did pretty well. I made pretty good money when I was a chef, but to look at that, I was wasting a huge chunk of my check every single year on alcohol. And what did it gain me? I didn't get anything out of it. Yeah, maybe I had some good times here and there, but for the most part, I was miserable. I couldn't stand myself. I hated myself. Every time I'm going to tell you guys something, and I don't think I've ever spoken about this. I wouldn't even look at myself in the mirror. I couldn't do it anymore. I was so ashamed of who I had become that I would not look at myself in the mirror anymore. When I would walk past a mirror, I would look the other way. That's how ashamed of myself I was in the throes of my addiction. I wouldn't look at myself for years in the mirror unless I absolutely had to. If I was shaving or something like that, or cutting my hair or something like that, I had to look at myself in the mirror. But for the most part, 99% of the time, I did not look at myself in the mirror. I would look the other direction. When I would walk past a mirror, I would look the other way. I was that ashamed of myself. It's really sad. All that money that I just wasted away. My house could be paid for right now. And that's only a 10-year number. That's 1 decade. Who knows what the real number is? I don't even want to think about it. I'm not going to do the math to figure it out, but it's not that complicated to figure out. I would probably imagine somewhere around $400,000 is probably what I've wasted on alcohol and cigarettes in my entire life. It's pretty depressing to look at these numbers, but it is what it is, and there's nothing I can do about it now. Like I've said, the past is gone. There's nothing I can do about that now, and there's nothing that any of you guys can do about it either. And there's no point in us harping on what happened in the past. All that we can do is look towards the future and just be present in today, because what we do today sets us up for the future. And if we're taking today to stay sober, then we are setting ourselves up for a future investment for our health, for our families, for our mental health, for our financial stability, for our jobs, for everything. Stopping drinking improves our life by so much. And just talking about the financial burden that we put on ourselves with our alcohol consumption. Unless you're like making your own alcohol at home and growing your own tobacco and all that kind of stuff, which I seriously doubt a lot of people are. And even if you are making your own alcohol, it still costs money just to do that, and time. You invest your time and your money into making it. You're still spending time and money on it, and your time is worth money. So it doesn't matter. Either way you look at it, you're still losing money, and you're spending money on destroying your health when you're drinking like that. And that's what I did. I was basically making payments on my future health being destroyed. And once again, there's nothing I can do about it now. And I'm not going to beat myself up over it anymore. What's done is done. And all I can do is be sober today, live for today, make it through today, start over tomorrow, and just be sober for tomorrow and worry about the next day. I just wake up the next day and say, I'm not going to drink today. 1 day at a time. That's all that we have. It's a constant struggle, but we can do it. Together, we can. Guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. I really do appreciate it. If you want to let me know what you think you spent on alcohol in a year or however long that you drank, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you guys. I would imagine there's probably people out there who probably drank more than I did and spent more money than I did. But, that's a lot of money that I wasted on alcohol. And like I said, I didn't want to do this, but it is what it is. I did it, and that's what I spent. And like I said, there's nothing I can do about it now. All I can do is just move forward and live for today. So once again, guys, I really appreciate you watching today's video. I hope you guys had a great day today, and until tomorrow, I will see y'all then. Love you guys. Bye.